the cut?
Not yet.
Okay, some studio work, a very recent one. Working on a white backdrop is not very typical for light painting, and the first time we did that is because it was what they provided us on a
It was a workshop or a
workshop.
demo.
Yeah. And we were like, no, we cannot work on a white paper because we are light painters. We need a black backdrop, and in the end, it changed a lot of things for us. I really got hooked, and we've been doing that for a few years now. But it was always a white paper on a darker room, so that was a bit different on this one. Everything is white everywhere. 2 walls bouncing the light, the ceiling, the floor, and it's really hard. But this is what we have. So as always, the constraints are part of the creative process, right?
That's very well said. In order to create it, Eric is using a pressure switch. So I can do that too. In order to create it, Eric is using a pressure switch to turn on and off the light. As he moves, he's popping on and off the light, and it creates these lines. The challenges.
It's way harder than doing circles outdoors, and that's why we don't see a lot of those. And I'm hoping by making this video that more people are going to start to do studio light painting using these tools, because it's super satisfying. The challenges: lighting up the subject properly while creating a beautiful trace of light. On this one, I started and I ended outside of the frame, otherwise I would be visible. I have to be in motion the whole time, otherwise my shadow gets visible. But I also have to be very careful with how I spread my light. I have to control the direction of it and make narrow traces to avoid spilling the light everywhere. In my first test, I was using a larger source of light, and by doing so, the light looked flat on the subject. By using the HoloSquare, I can narrow my beam and get these beautiful contrasts and shadows.
This tool is HoloSquare Sugar, one of our favorites. Very used one. That's actually the one he used. It's a beaten up one.
Yeah, and the older it gets, the best textures you're gonna get, so keep messing with your tools. My typical studio settings for this are 35mm, f5.6 and ISO 100, and I used a fixed exposure of 6 seconds on this one. That is single exposure with a bit of tweaking with the light, but I've been doing composites lately for the reason, we'll get back to that, but this one was a single exposure.
Yeah, maybe I would add one last thing before we wrap up. These type of shape are pretty much impossible to replicate. I don't think we even try. Usually you'll get into this similar idea, similar motion, but it's almost impossible to do twice the same thing. And that's part of the beauty of this technique as well.
Le mignon. Okay.
Oh,